How's it going, everyone? Welcome to my channel. Once again, it's sharing time, even though no one asked for this video. Anyways, I'm gonna do it. Actually, in this video, I'll be sharing to you about completed mangas and manhwas that I have read, and some ongoing mangas and manhwas that I have stopped with and wanted to stay updated with, because there are some mangas and manhwas that I just dropped them because their stories are becoming uninteresting for me. So I'm gonna show you some lists. So let's get down to this video now. I don't know, I don't know how to hype people, but anyway, here are the lists. Just a disclaimer, I am a cheap and a poor person, so the sites where I read my mangas and manhwas are not official. It's up to you where you want to read them, but I strongly suggest that you read them on official sites where you can support the artist, the authors, and the translators. Now back to the video. The list that I'm going to share to you have 3 categories. We have the mangas, manhwas, and the smut/shanty. Gonna be getting excited for that, but under the manga, we have subcategories. We have the completed and the ongoings. So I'm gonna start with this manga. I've already read this years ago, but because it's so very memorable to me, I put it in my list. Anyway, this is a story about a high school girl named Nakano-san who can look into people's minds, and because of that, she finds out that the mind of their popular kid, Tada-kun, is full of wild fantasies about her. You know, almost rated 18 fantasies. That's also how she found out that Tada-kun is totally into her. Like, After I read it the first time, I reread it, I think, after a year or so, because that's how much fun this manga was. The next in my list would be Magiko by Iwamoto Naoki. This is a shoujo fantasy adventure genre about a 16-year-old Emma that arrives at the capital city Hawkeye after escaping from being held captive for her entire life. But as soon as she arrives, every man in the city, including the king, falls madly in love with her. She is about to be forced into marriage, but is saved by a sorcerer. The sorcerer's name is Shion, one of the youngest and most talented in the nation. Shion explains to Emma that she is cursed with the Ekidona, a mysterious magic that happens every 500 years, where a girl is born with her heart packed with such powerful dark magic that it has the potential to destroy the world. With such power, one could rule the world, and Shion explains to Emma that people are going to try and hunt her down to get her heart. However, Emma is told that there exists a ritual that will rid the Ekidona curse, but doing so will require a long and arduous process. The first of that being Emma and Shion will have to marry each other. When I got into reading mangas, this was one of the treasures that I have found. As a person who loves the genre of action, adventure, romance, comedy, this was one of the unforgettable ones. It holds a special place in my heart. The next one would be Promised Cinderella by Tachibana Oreko. This is a manga that I just recently found. It is about an adult woman named Hayame who leads a modest, peaceful life as a housewife. One day she meets a jackass student named Ise, but thinks little of it. As Hayame's life falls apart around her, Ise makes an unexpected proposal which will turn her life upside down. This manga, believe it or not, made me binge read again for the longest time of my life. Since high school, where I would binge read all the shoujo mangas that I would find, whether completed or ongoing. And thank God that this manga was already completed, because if it weren't, I would just scream and then move on with my life. Okay, if you love shoujo manga, I would highly recommend this one. Just a few words, also by Tachibana Oreko. This manga is the one that brought me to Promised Cinderella. This is just a short story where a married couple's love that has cooled off, but just a few words might change everything. So if you want something wholesome and just a short story that you want for a day, then this one is just for you. First in the list would be Tsureneko Maruru to Hachi, cat partners Maruru and Hachi. As a cat mom, of course, I would get immediately hooked with this. It's about a house cat, Maruru, that strayed away from his family after chasing a crow. As he was barely surviving as a stray cat, he met with a fellow cat named Hachimare, who got stuck in a watering can, and Maruru helped him to remove it. Hachi was in debt to Maruru, so he helped him how to survive as a stray cat. For all the cat lovers out there, this one is for you. There are panels that are heartbreaking and as well as heartwarming. It's like you see the lives of stray cats and it melts your heart. Tonari no Onesan ga suki. I'm in love with the older girl next door. It is about a boy who is in love with the girl next door, who is 3 years older than him. The girl named Shia loves movies and the film industry. As the boy is madly in love with her, he tried to get into movies as well, asking for Shia some recommendations. They had some awkward and cute interactions with each other, as the boy is not afraid to speak his mind, while Shia is being shy and reserved. As the boy wanted to get to know Shia, he would sometimes go to her room and they would watch a movie together. One day when he kinda confessed to her, they started to watch movies every Wednesday together. Kuroi wa medaka ni watashi no kawaii ga... Oh no, wait. I hope I can do this right. My charms are wasted on Kuroi wa medaka. Kuroi wa medaka ni watashi no kawaii ga tsujinai. I don't know if that was alright, but... Kuroiwa was born in a temple and is currently a training monk. Because of his temple rules, he cannot interact with girls, and more, he doesn't even know how to do that. Mona, now the queen bee of the school, insistently tries to make him fall in love with her, but he always ignores her in order to keep up with the rules of his training as a monk. If you have seen The Disastrous Life of Psyche, the story is like Kokomi trying so hard to make Psyche notice her until she develops feelings for him. But in this manga, it has a little bit of ecchi. Now speaking of ecchi, we're almost at the smart recommendations, so hold on to your ovaries, ladies. So that was the last one for now for our ongoing mangas. The next recommendations would be manhwas. Now we go to Korean mangas. My first introduction with manhwas was way back during my college days. Back then, I was like, there are colored mangas? What, really? Anyway, there was a point in my life, I think it was before I took my licensure exam, where my high school close friend recommended a manhwa to me, which was entitled Suddenly I Became a Princess. I tried reading it and went into this rabbit hole of reading about princesses, and then later on led me to stories about girls being reincarnated as villainesses or villainesses being reborn. The first villainous story that I read was actually a manga called My Next Life as a Villainess, All Routes Lead to Doom, which was eventually adapted into an anime series. As I further read those kinds of stories, one after the other, I finally found the one that kept me wanting more and to be updated with. It is the first in my list, which is Death is the Only Ending for the Villainess. Penelope Eckhart reincarnated as the adopted daughter of Duke Eckhart and the villainess of a reverse harem dating sim. The problem is, she entered the game at its hardest difficulty, and no matter what she does, death awaits her at every ending. Before the real daughter of Duke Eckhart appears, she must choose one of the male leads and reach a happy ending in order to survive. But the two brothers always pick a fight with her over every little thing, as well as a crazy prince whose roots all lead to death. There's even a magician who's enamored with the female lead and a loyal slave knight. But somehow, the favorability meters of the male leads increase the more she crosses the line with them. This is Penelope's survival story, who's been dropped in an insane reverse harem dating sim. By the way, I ship her and the Crown Prince. It's just so hot. If you're like me, who went into a crazy road of reading every single stories about villainesses, well, this one is for you. This manhwa is a story about a girl's coming of age named Nari O. She became friends with the three prettiest girls in school, and that was when it started all the high school drama. I love this manhwa so much because these four girls cherish their friendship so much, helping each other from the dramas of their individual lives, especially our main character, Nari, who always tries her best to have the right thing to say and do with the help and influence of the good people that surrounds her. This is one of the top manhwas that I've really read. It's a worth to read, definitely. It's not yet completed, it's almost. The author is in hiatus, but according to the webtoon, the author announced that it's almost completed. So I'm pretty excited. This one was unexpectedly fun to read. What would happen if a civil engineer entered the world of a fantasy novel? Well, this manhwa is one of the possibilities of what would happen. This is about Kim So-hoo, your ordinary Korean civil engineer, who got reincarnated as one of the worst characters in the novel entitled Iron-Blooded Engineer, which he read in his real world, who is Lloyd Frontera. He is the first master of the main protagonist, Javier Asrahan or Javier Asrahan, depending on the translation, who would eventually become well known all over the world as swordsman Javier or Javier. As the story progressed, Lloyd would change his old character into becoming the world's very first and well-known greatest engineer. By the way, this manhwa has the cutest assistants I've ever seen. They're just so cute. I cannot. And now the end is near, and so I face. Just kidding. Now, lady degenerates and pretentious gentlemen, this is the segment that we've all been waiting for. This month/hentai mangas and manhwa. I'm only gonna share one adult manhwa for now. If you want more, I'm gonna do another video for another time. The first in the list would be When I Reincarnated, I Was Doted On by the Demon King. This is by the author Foxys. Haruka, an employee for a real estate company, is lamenting about her mistakes at work as well as her unrequited love with a senpai who recently got married when a meteor suddenly hits her window. The suspicious man who fell from the sky is the self-proclaimed Demon King. He then proceeds to tell her that in her previous life she was the saint, which makes him her arch-enemy. Like hell anyone would believe something that sounds as if it came from a light novel. Then he declares, "I'll make you happy, and when you've regained hope, I'll plummet you into despair." Corporate slave who was a saint in her past life, ex-Demon King, the story of their cohabitation as the Demon King becomes a doting lover. The author Foxys also have other 3 mangas, but this is the one that introduced me to his or her work and has a longer plotline. I thought that the story was cute and the adult scenes were just so hot. I cannot. But anyway, check out his or her works if you want some really good adult art with cute stories. The next one would be Lady K and the Sick Man by Rorogi Mogera. This one is a doujinshi manga. I don't know where the characters are based on, but my oh my. The adult scenes are just pure art. It has a wholesome story with very erotic scenes. The plot is pretty simple. A poor middle-aged man who is barely getting by with his life found a hot lady ghost in his run-down apartment and started to do jiggy things with her. That's pretty much it. A 30-year-old virgin, Mihei, is burning up with lust, but the only company she has on her 30th birthday is wine, cake, and a life-sized pillow of her favorite idol singer. Well, a girl's gotta drink up and dream big. She blows out the candles with just one wish for her coming year, to finally pop that cherry. When she opens her eyes, lo and behold, a handsome hunk has materialized out of thin air. Sana! And he's got an irresistible offer for her. Become a witch and take him as her familiar. One thing's for sure, this witch will be riding more than broomsticks, baby. If you know what I mean. I gotta say, this is the perfect balance of smut hentai for me. Beautiful art, good plot, and very nice male lips. Anyway, that is it for today. Always choose to be kind. See you in the next video. Bye bye.